It is 6:31, and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Del Army. Everyone please stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Thank God for giving us the opportunity to hold our monthly meeting. He was, the decisions that we make, that we need to the benefit of the city of Wyoming and its citizens. Pledge allegiance. After I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Vernon? No. I wanted to ask, because I've never gotten a straight answer from anyone, who knows about the buses, the vans that come over here to the park there, and what they're using to be there? We were there for, spring break with our grandchildren, and we quite a few of them in town. And one of the little vans pulled up, and one of the officers got off and went to the camp, came back, he was coming back, my husband approached him and asked him, can you tell me what is the job here? And he just ignored him and went in and sat down again, and then, husband was like, hey, talking, you rolled down the window, and husband again asked him the same thing, and he said, it's none of your business. Well, it is our business, because we pay taxes here, and we're citizens here, why do they kick the park there where there's lots of children, the communities all around us right here? Who are they? Why are they stopping here? Anybody know?
Yeah, we can't, because I'm
Answer right now.
we can talk to you afterwards. For raising that concern. Is everybody else?
My name is Michael Bundes. I'm a small business owner in Somerset, Texas. I'm also a veteran. For the last few years, I've been wanting to put on a Memorial Day hike to bring awareness to the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. This year, we're finally getting some traction. My business is stable enough to where I can dedicate some time to this. I was wanting to ask for permission from Von Army to let us use the roads. We want to connect walk from Von Army to Somerset. At each rest area, which is going to be about approximately every 2.5 hours, or 2.5 miles, I'm sorry, we're going to honor a veteran. The first one that we're going to start off with is P.C. Gordon, who is here from Von Army, who was lost in battle. And it's more than anything an event to raise awareness for what Memorial Day is, which started off as a pet peeve of mine when people tell me Happy Memorial Day and they don't understand what it is. You know, people tell that to a veteran. Not in an offended way, but I just think they don't, in an ignorant way, they don't understand what it means. So we're gonna hike 22 kilometers. The second reason is for raise awareness for veteran suicide. 22 kilometers, 22 veterans kill themselves every day. So that's the other reason. We're gonna be divided up into 22-man squads. Each squad is gonna have a representation of what 22 men killing themselves every day looks like, so you can understand that. The goal would be to shoot down on Army Road, head onto Somerset Road, stop at this Monkey's Kitchen. The owner has agreed to allow us to use their facilities, provide water as a first break area, and then we're going to take off on the side of Somerset Road again until we get to Frank Hoffman. From Frank Hoffman, we're going to cross over. The biggest obstacle for us would be 1604. We have constables that volunteer to help dedicate their time to help with the traffic. And then from there, stopping at Constantino's in Somerset, going down 6th Street in Somerset, down Somerset Road to the American Legion over there. And then we're going to pop around 476 and then end up at Dahlgren Food Truck Park, which is right outside of Somerset. And we'll have a festival there to commemorate the day, almost like the symbolism of, you know, we did the work, we did all the hard labor, and then the Americans celebrating their freedom get to celebrate the festival afterwards. We're going to have different organizations coming out to provide their services to let people know. I just spoke to Endeavors today, which is an organization that helps homeless veterans. that a lot of people aren't aware of. I wasn't aware of before I talked to them. Operation Homefront, a few different nonprofits coming out, and then obviously the recruiters, will be coming out as well. We already have the Bear County Sheriff's Office volunteering to come out and send their mariachi to perform for us, and a few other local artists that are gonna perform there as well, and a few businesses donating bouncers and stuff like that for the kids. The donation amount to participate in the hike is $20. For the first 75 participants, it's inclusive free t-shirt, and all participants will be given lunch. One of our local barbecue teams volunteered to dedicate their time to cook for everybody. I don't know. Yeah, I guess, I don't know what else I need, but I just wanted to.
We got
Thank you, thank you.
Very good.
You know, I forgot to put the city archaeologist on there, on the agenda. Billy, can you? Oh. Okay.
Commissioner Sebastian Martinez.
Here.
Commissioner Reed Guzman.
Here.
Mayor Arthur Campbell.
Here.
Mayor LaFois.
Billy, are you ready to give your archaeologist report? Did that make sense?
That was a big one here, in the city. Name is Billy Martinez, I don't know why I am the city archaeologist here, Texas. I've been a city archaeologist since 2008. Okay, we had an incident up here on the Beverly Road. I've been talking about it, and discussed it. Too big of a hole to be opened without me. 13-foot wide, 4 foot deep, 39 feet long. Anything can come out of the hole, okay? And contractors will do it. I'm talking bad about contractors or any companies on that. If they find a big something, a big bone, a big mammoth or whatever, they'll put it to the side and they'll cover up the work. So, job may get shut down. They get in there and do what they need to do. So, I talked to Mr. Torres. I got his phone number, gave him my SIM card, and he's gonna let me know when they're gonna be cutting to the other side of 35 there. They're going underneath the highway, so that might be tomorrow. That's what I'm looking at. Because I've done workshops before also, with one of them. That's what I do. The water, that's what the water. But yeah, he knows to call me now. When they get to the other side, they're not gonna dig a pit as big as they did. On the other side was, but yeah, me and Melanie looked it up, we discussed it, and even citizens can give you a call. Everybody knows why I'm wrong. My brother, commissioners, if y'all see somebody digging somewhere, feel free, give me a call, say, hey, Billy, there's somebody digging over the tractor. We don't know who it is, we don't know what to do. Anytime you dig into the ground,
Is I understand that we shouldn't ask questions right now. Okay, sorry about that.
I have some more facts here that, I'm looking at the table. After the meeting, speak out. I only artifacts, that's the rest that I find in the Article 1 arm. I have my showcase next door to City Hall. Everything that you see in the City Hall will be, these are furries. Anything you see in the showcase will be from one arm. Petrified wood, we have plenty of it here. These artifacts here will be 2,000 to 3,000 years old. say, well, what Indians were those that, worked on these stone tools? They're called ancient Indians. Thousands of years ago, lived here. I'm gonna pass this baby around. That was wood at one time. That will take 2 to 3 million years old to turn into petrified wood. A lot of people say, well, these archaeologists, they just make up numbers. It's recorded. All this is recorded. All those points right there, I know exactly how it is. That's how long it takes for that wood to turn into. Finding these out of that field, that battlefield, and, we feel like we keep it. Different colors. If you find out more about this project, come to our business. These are and we collect artifacts also that are busted like this. It's just on 5 years. This thing's busted. I'm gonna give it to the guy. Very important. And when they bust flat. You can see them. And when you find an arrowhead, you find the middle of an arrowhead, I can't tell you what it is. You find the point, I'm not gonna be able to distinguish it. It is the bottom of the arrowhead that's gonna tell me how old it is and what point it is, the bottom, the notches that it's stuck there. After the meeting, I'll come up and look at it. Okay, that's it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 1, the consent agenda. All the following items are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners. There will be no separate discussion on these items and will be enacted in one motion unless removed by any board member to discuss and consider separately by making such request prior to a motion. We have approval of the minutes, approval of police statistics, financial update, and public works report. Does anybody wish to pull and discuss any of these individually? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I put in here so y'all see, the police property that's coming up, the city insurance payment, and then the first payment to the auditors, and the, sewer payment that I just made.
Okay, so you want to pull the financial report?
No, it's such a note there.
I make a motion to approve the consent.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I support it.
All in favor, say aye. No, ayes have it, motion carries. Agenda item 2, discuss, consider, and take possible action to approve a resolution and other required documents for fiscal year 2026, community development block grant and all other matters related.
So I submitted the CDBG, for street maintenance. With our pre-existing street maintenance plan that we put together. The total request for that project is $755,000. And I need this resolution. Technically, we were supposed to have it before it was submitted, but we didn't.
And you got the resolution. Yes, you have the resolution.
Yes. This appoints, the mayor / Michael Tim as the authorized official to sign documents for the grant.
All right, any further discussion? We need to complete the grant, correct?
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the resolution.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Those say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Agenda item number 3, discuss, consider, take possible action to regulate the discharge of firearms within the city limits and all other matters. Commissioner Guzman.
Okay, on this item, is, in case you didn't see, but you have to have more than 10 acres. That's what the county.
understanding is you can just start a farm, you just can't cross the property line. But I think to have a range, you have to have 10 acres. That's what you're talking about.
I have a code here, Texas Local Government Code, municipality may not adopt, apply regulation relating to discharge of firearms or other weapons in the city or the extraterritorial jurisdiction. If the firearm or other weapon is a shotgun, air rifle, pistol, BB gun, bow, and arrow discharged on a tract of land of 10 acres or more than 150 feet from a residence or occupied building. And so then the other one is in a manner not reasonably expected to cause a projectile to cross the boundary. So it has to be at least 10 acres and not be able to cross the boundary of the tract. The second item is relating to center fire or rimfire fire rifles or pistols of any caliber. Must be on a tract of at least 50 acres or more and more than 300 feet from a residence or occupied building, and in a manner not reasonably expected to cause the projectile to cross the boundary. So we can regulate it if we want to, if it's under 10 acres.
I mean, is it a problem? I don't know.
We actually hear that.
So I have gotten complaints from, I guess not saying his name, a gentleman on Benson Road, going towards Jocko Road. Got complaints from a gentleman over there about shooting at night, actually like hitting his property.
So that's curtain on all of it.
I called in a complaint, they shoot right there for the, it could be in San Antonio where the Shell station is at, or towards that end. And it's a weapon, it works out probably, and they do it at night. They do it and stop, and they do it again, they do it again. And I'll call the, San Antonio, I think it is the San Antonio. This is some, on the other side. I don't know if they come. And then, I don't know, I'm not saying any name, but he has a few, roosters, and they fire back there sometimes too. So, if we do it in one army, if there's somebody, it's at night, chief. We call sugar phone, I guess.
Well, I know, where I stay at, Orly Park, I know there's so much land next door, which, manager here, David, has actually mentioned it regarding people being shooting at it, but that's a land that's, I don't know, 20, maybe 50 acres. So, also we have a close, outdoor range, just a few miles away.
Yeah. That's not one I'm talking about, if somebody parks here, one, like, there across the back of my house. We have to call the sheriff department, if it's at night.
Okay, yeah, we'll have an officer available, we can actually just, like,
Yeah,
just.
Yes, somebody running, yeah.
You just call out one bell dispatch where there's alarm piece.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Did you say that you thought we had an ordinance already?
I thought that I'd seen one a long time ago, I did not double check for the one piece prior to today, but I believe that if we have one, great, we can apply it. If not, we can decide if that's something that we'll regulate.
Well, get that. Move on to agenda item number 4, discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding proposed sports park development. Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Guzman.
So I understand, I was told that it was set aside, so it'll be the decision that
Well, they pulled out.
they pulled out. Okay, any reason?
They decided, we originally had, it was gonna be 8 baseball fields, and then, directed to the staff was to try to incorporate more commercial. And so after going back and forth, we had a just a general plan where it's gonna be half field, half commercial, and they withdrew their application, deciding that it was no longer, financially viable for them. So,
Is that the kind of thing we can revisit?
if y'all decide that y'all wanna revisit it, we can, but they have withdrawn their application.
Yeah, it's up to them. They decide.
Right.
We'll listen to them. Yes.
They would have to reapply, yes.
Agenda item 5, discuss, consider, and take possible action regarding fiscal year 2025 audit report.
So my name's Mario Latte, I'm the president of the So we're gonna present you the annual financial report. So I'm just gonna go basically general highlights. On page 1 of the report, with the full audit report, that's where we give our opinions. And for governmental activities in the general fund, there's a qualified opinion. The rest of the fund, we gave an unqualified opinion. Now, the reason for this qualified opinion is really stated on page 2 of the audit report, just because of the accounting for the banking performance. So we kind of had an issue trying to get the right data we needed to actually put together the financial statement for the performance. This mainly has to do with a lot of the receivables, because I know we all switched systems in this year. So we had the old system and the new system, but we still had issues trying to get reports that we needed. So basically, that's the reason for the qualified opinion. Now, financial highlights, which are in page 4. Basically, your total fund balance is about $356,000. Your general fund is a negative fund balance of about $110,000. The reason for that was an adjustment that was made regarding prior IRS liabilities that y'all uncovered, based on several IRS letters that we received. That amounted to about $75,000 in additional liabilities that we recorded. But however, I know y'all are in the process of dealing with the IRS, and usually kind of forget some of it. So that's kind of still up in the air about what the total liability is. But when we did the report, it was around $75,000. Next part is page 6, which comparative from last year to this year. Your overall balances did not change too much, as you can see. Like total assets in 24 was about 2.4 million. This year was about 2.25 million, so it was not too big of a change. The same thing with your net position. It did decrease, and again, it's because of the additional liabilities and your deficit that ended up coming out with in your general fund. So, and page 9 kind of summarizes your total assets. Again, like I said, it's not much change. Last year, about 1.4 million. This year, about 1.4 million. Y'all probably bought a few things, but again, we recorded depreciation, so it kind of offsets your additions. Your debt has been coming down a little bit. Last year was 442,000. This year, about 330,000. Basically, your debt is the building and the lease funds that pretty much your fund statement. So y'all have, a few different, some different funds. Your overall cash balance is about 491,000 across all. Now, your major liabilities again is that IRS one that shows 77,000 on page 14. But again, that's kind of, that could change because until that all the IRS issues are resolved in past payroll from several years back. So that can change. And then your overall fund balance again is 356,000 for all. And so page 16 and 17 is basically your income statement, again, for all funds. Most of your income does come from sales tax. So about sales tax, we collected about 618,000. So that's the bulk of your revenue, with the exception of that grant that y'all received from the field project. That one was about 430,000. But again, that one, you spend money and then you get reimbursed, so it kind of offsets with each other. That's pretty much the bulk of the highlights of the financial report. And again, I think on we did summarize the sewer project also because that's the big project there. So we're looking at page 41. So pretty much almost been about $1 million since inception. So it's been going on since fiscal year 24 and 25. So I know I have 3 million that was awarded to y'all, so we still have some money to spend there. And I think it should be spent by August 31st, 2026, according to the contract. And again, this is as of 9/30/25. So there was more that I can say. So that pretty much covers the basic parts of the financial statement. So the other part is the other report we issued is the audit communication letter. So that kind of details what we think the city can improve on. So on that one, starting on page 4, where we listed internal control matters, that starts with our recommendations where the city can improve. One of the things we noted was the general ledger preparation. So in accounting terms, your books really are on the cash basis, which they should be on a modified accrual basis. So we have to do a lot of improvements to make the financial statements on a modified accrual basis. And that was the bulk of our entry, just a lot of conversion. The second part again is report findings, which we kind of mentioned. We couldn't really get any reliable reports from the system. And I know July is when we upgrade to the report smart system. They said we weren't comfortable in looking on it as the system for improvement. So that's an improvement that could be made is kind of looking at that report finding system. Because that system, we do a lot of that system to give us our numbers for like the revenues and fees, receivables that could be out there. And we had some issues with getting reports that we felt comfortable with corresponding systems. Next point, vendor disbursements. So we recommended that before items are paid, they just be presented during the council meeting. So you can just verify if these are all our payments that we're making, and so you guys can see that and approve all the payments that are being paid. Especially like the EFT payments and the bill payments, because those are automatically paid with the banking system. Unlike checks where, well, you have to sign them, so you can make the checks. EFTs and bill pays are automatic. Next one is the city's charter. The books are not really set up for a city, for city accounting. They're more set up for basic, just, I guess, kind of checkbook accounting. So we do recommend that the chart accounts be modified. So it's easier for basically us to prepare, or whomever to prepare audited financial statements, because we do have to change our, we do have to classify different line items on your profit lines in order to come up with financial statements. So if they're already set up that way, it just makes it much easier. So that's chart of accounts. Payroll expenses. Okay, so overall payroll comment. When we were testing payroll, it's a good practice for a city to have like the employee's current pay rate on file. So it's just easier for us to verify who's getting paid what. The way we had to look at it was based on budget, which usually we didn't see any issues, but it's just preferred that the city keep like a personnel file and have the base pay rate for each employee. Next one was cash and bank reconciliation. And again, there was no major issue with this one, but it was just some adjustments were made on the online banking system, but were not recorded timely on the books. Now by that, I mean that they weren't recorded on the monthly occurred, but they were recorded the subsequent month. So just if they were not recorded on the correct period, but they were recorded. Second last one is the solid sewer. So this one, based on the agreement that we found, I know this one shows that the city is going to continue to operate the sewer system. But then I know with talking to Valerie, kind of been discussions with Ross regarding updating the agreement, but that hasn't been signed yet because I was hoping that they kind of take over that sewer project once it's done. Last one is just the accounting, the backup system for the accounting. Basically, there's no server or all the data is stored here. So if anything were to happen to the computer or the building, a lot of computers would be lost. So we recommended some sort of backup system that doesn't store the data here on site, that it's stored off site. So those were pretty much our recommendations. Overall, the city has improved its accounting and overall the audit. We see an improvement from the previous years. Seems like Mario covered in detail a lot of stuff, information for you, but there has been improvements. I know you had some help this year, and I guess gradually we see that there's a pattern of improvements. And overall, even though you have a deficit in general fund, overall your cash position is around how much from the city? 456. Yeah. So you just need to be careful in managing your budget. And I know for this year, y'all closed out the maintenance fund, so all that goes down to the transfer over to the general fund, so you'll be in positive again, but maybe that fund over.
page 26 of the audit. We have excess of expenditures over appropriations. Can you find that?
I'll go ahead and talk about it. Yeah, basically, the, overall, you budgeted certain things. I think overall, the issue is that you were not keeping the budget, your budget is not set up by functions, which is a standard practice that's required. You're basically budgeting for two departments, you know, the admin department and police department. But the city does use the funds, you know, taxpayer funds for different functions. And so the presentation on page 26 shows, for example, that you had the budget for the police department, 127,000. The actual expenditure is 414. So there's an excess.
It's because we have salary in one line item.
Yeah.
And they want it in so we're doing it by line item, right? So we have a lump sum in one line item and we're using it for all departments. So on the line item, it balances. So for the audit, they want it broken down by department. So they're taking that salary amount, adding it to the police department budget, so it's overspent on paper, but it's because they have to change the chart account.
Yeah, it's a good project, standard to look at page, the budget to actual presentation. I think that's page 42, that gives you an overall picture. There you'll see that the total expenses that you budgeted were 1.3 million. However, in total, you only spent $1,090,000, and that's the in total. But the way that you're set up, the standard presentation is anytime you have a function, you know, and that function is exceeded, that's the way that it's presented. That's it.
It's like even with our liability insurance. So now we have it broken down by city, court, public works, and police. And so like, for instance, $65,000 was our budget for insurance. Well, 55,000 of that was police. So that went into the police budget expenditures, but it wasn't budgeted for that because it had under general. So it's the way the budget.
So overall, we're recommending that you present your budget at the functional level, which is really the standard presentation. I know you're a small city, you know, the rules are maybe complicated for a small city, but the presentation for.
Well, I mean, we want to have to be passing audit next time.
Yeah, so she's already reviewing the chart accounts to make it by function. So we can break it out, the salaries, the retirement, the taxes, the insurance. We even have to break out like the water bill, the electric bill, like by square footage of each building, of who's using it. So it's
Yeah, so the
more
next been working
complicated
on,
than
helping you out, do it right, hopefully for next year, it'll look more presentable. That's what we're recommending, like maybe, even for this year, that you have an amended budget, we can present that in that format.
So is that what you mean by general ledger?
The chart of accounts.
Okay, how do we fix this general ledger?
The general ledger, I think also the Ned's been working on that, yeah, in having accounts set up for like liabilities, right now, there's no liabilities that are set up.
This is gonna be our accounting system set up in here before I was here, whatever. To this point, it has been revenue and expenditures. We didn't record liabilities and payables, and so that's what we're gonna do.
So just for the record, I just want the commissioners and mayors to know that Mario just went over my work that I've been doing, and if you want me to ask him what it looks like, then I want you to feel comfortable with the changes that I'm making. I'm making some very, very big changes. So you're more than welcome to ask.
So my understanding, we need to have a general ledger that says how much we budgeted, how much revenue we received for that, you know, how much we spent. And if we need to modify it, we need to bring it into the council.
Right.
And say, okay, we need more money for this, or we need less for that.
But they also want the liabilities and the.
Liabilities will belong to the kind of one area, but then they expense out per department.
Yeah.
So as long as the expenses can be seen per department. So at the end of the audit, they can actually see what those departments are spending and what each of those departments are costing city and what taxpayer dollars are being spent. That's the goal.
That way you as a city council commissioners can determine like, hey, this is the way we want the money spent. And, you know, you're presenting it to the citizens and presenting your official budget, and so basically it'll improve the accountability.
So that should be done in time for us to, when we got there.
I am about 75% finished, sir. I wanted to go over some stuff with Mario tonight. If you look at stuff, I think we're happy where we're at, and I'm gonna keep going. It should be done by next week. And then we can get together, or however we want to do budget. I'll give you the format of the budget, we can start from there and discuss the budget process. Because we're kind of behind on that.
You're gonna change the financial report also.
The financial reports will be completely different. If you would like to see kind of what I'm doing after the meeting, I have a comparative one.
So you're moving overall, you're moving in the right direction. I mean, I just want to give you all the assurance.
No, the court fines that we finished.
Court times, the problem that we have there is the reporting system did not give me what's called a tables report. So Mario and I were beating our heads trying to figure out how to figure out what the payables were coming in matching to the general ledger, which means what was going into the bank, right? Just trying to make it simple. So even though I could break it down, I don't feel that there's any money that is missing or not there. It's important that I can balance back 100% to each day. My issue and the reason, and I was just talking to Mario about it, is that a lot of this stuff is paid online. I would say that more than 75% of our tickets and fines are paid online. Sometimes those credit cards may credit that day, or they may credit 5 days from now. So what we are seeing is the bank account may not be exactly what the report is coming out. So AdCom, yes, is making me a report to show in the packet of what is actually hitting the bank and not hitting the bank. And I think as of 2 weeks ago, we got it fixed. But unfortunately, that was 2 weeks later in the audit, then we had to close the books and get this done. So we could be in compliance with the 180-day audit.
That's a good point to make. The city has had $8 requirement that we ought to do March 31st. That's all. Not a lot of cities, small cities are trying to do that.
And now the issue we had before about elections of past years, I remember we hired Linebarger, we were getting a collection.
So we are still working with that. Maddie's doing a wonderful job with that, by the way, on Plumber, trying to get the reports in to match on what we can collect. She's doing something right because we are seeing the collections come in, so there is something good happening, but we're still trying to tweak those reports. From what I understand, this system is, we're kind of I think we're the first person to actually use the system, so we're almost like they're so it's not really, I can't find another city that uses it. So I think that we're kind of their test protocol on what's going on. So we are getting it out there, we're seeing the revenue start coming in, I'm a little bit happy with it, they're letting us kind of tweak the reports a little bit more, but I just want a little bit more detailed reporting because I just need to be able to verify 100% what is hitting that bank.
Do you have an estimate about when that may be done? Before we make it?
The data's all, it's all transferred, we have all the data, it's the getting the reports we even want.
So,
They're already contacting.
Right.
Is that saying that
what, are you talking about Lineberger?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they already over there, but she's kind of like the control of it, she's just wanting to make sure it's 100%. So the last email I got, I didn't get anything today, I don't know if you did, but I think they're 100% where they need to be. So I know that Ronald from Lineberger came by a couple weeks ago, I was here to talk to him, I have not talked to Maddie, but if there's a problem, she would absolutely call. But I know something's happening because
in order for that to get booked as, in the financial statements, a judge has to see that. So the court finds the citations have to be what is called adjudicated. Then, so you gotta have your reports to show why that's been adjudicated. And then that's the basis for reporting the revenues. And then as you collect those revenues, you are, you're increasing your cash and you're setting your receivables. But then there's also people that don't pay, who say 75% is paid. But, in reality, if you don't collect it in a very short period of time, you're gonna have a hard time collecting. So the other part that you hear the city's working on is the omni system. That's very important because when you have that in place, whenever people have outstanding tickets, they want to renew their license, they won't be able to renew their license unless they pay the tickets. And so that, in our experience in other cities, has really improved a lot of collection, a whole lot.
I think like around $4 million in total.
So what,
So there's a lot of work to do.
that's what percent are on me?
I did reach out to Yolanda Around, we are trying to get it set up, the city is 100% ready for that. I just have to bring a resolution, she needs to bring a resolution so we can get it. Are we good? And then we're ready to go. So we're ready. They have the resolution.
Yeah, I read the contract and everything on there, that, I mean, there's.
Yeah, that's very important.
We could use $4 million. I wouldn't delay that. Well, again, next month, we have my bar looking up here on my meeting as well. Yeah, I understand. Here, also under Court 5, it says the park collector not bonded for any losses, collections.
So my mom was saying, so my what is it, for the, depending on what the collection is, what is it, take up, if they, 25,000, or if they're receiving 25,000, they need a bond, is it 25, something like that? So, I can't remember, but if they are taking receivables, we should be bonded, and if we're getting money, we should be bonded, and there's a level that I have to put on that. So, we do need to get that, I think, based upon what Valerie had in money, I really don't touch the money, I just reconcile it, and then the court system is like, looking at like 2,000 a year. It's not that much.
Can we get a report back on that? That's just risk pool, right?
They don't do the hard work.
Alexandria did it, the one with the,
And anyone else, I'm sure we require to be done.
You should be separate, yes. You should be. I called, and they said check, so they should be too.
Yeah, everyone is.
Yes, sir.
Maybe it's a bond review, make sure we have everybody bonded.
You know, the amount of the bond.
It depends on the amount of money that I have to look at, I can take it, there's certain levels of how much I put in. Yeah, there's tiers. Depending on how much money we are touching. I know in the past I've put that.
Would that have covered something, I know in the past we didn't pay our payroll taxes properly. We had IRS money. Was there any type of insurance that would have covered us for that?
I don't think so. I would have to ask TML on that, maybe errors and omissions, but not through this type of bond. This is more for that, for that. Yeah. Let them finish first.
I think we're done with the audit.
I'm going to use recommended change. So on vendor disbursements, you said there were 24 ETF transactions and 7 bill payments that have supporting documentation, evidence of approval. What were those?
I don't know in detail which exact ones, but we have it in our records, we do know that. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but we're just saying that it's good practice
approved.
That's why I put that in finance.
So we did, we started.
It's just like the phone bill, the water bill.
Understand. But I'm saying, I want, somebody asked me what you had in unapproved expense, I want to at least be able to say, well, we voted on it later, I'll tell you what they were,
I can,
and we have in the minutes that those are actually
I
approved.
can put out the accounts payable last year and you can go with that, with that.
I just want to know what the 24 were and the 7, and then we express and
The
approve
ones
it.
that she was looking at were CPS.
From now on, we should always do it in advance, but since we missed these, we should go back.
They were like CPS.
It's the electricity bill, the water bill, the phone bill, the internet.
The copy wasn't printed out.
The copy machine.
But the resident sees this, let's say that.
Yeah.
So, again, next meeting, if we could just get
Were
that.
they included on financial statements? And the board approved the financials at each meeting?
Yes.
And then 2 individuals signed checks?
Well, these are
Online
arrangements.
payments, but they were approved at each meeting right after that.
Why did you think
The
this?
approval's fine, but what part about is the documentation.
Was you just need the minutes?
We need every transaction that you have should have like specific documentation and approval.
So what happens is he comes in and he pulls an accounts payable wrong, and he says, I need you to pull me 25 of these checks and show me what they were and show me where they go to. So we were looking at PTS, some of the stuff was CPS, it was utilities, it was stuff like that that had to be paid. And even though that was there, the whole backup was not attached to it. So it wasn't anything that we wrote that would have been like a fraud, or any kind of bad payment, it just needs to be there, so we have what's called a 3-bar payment. Where you have the check, you have the backup, and you have the detail.
It's a normal accounting.
Yeah, so my question is, how do we make sure we just have an issue?
Because we have implemented what's called, bills to be paid, which, that's what Valerie gave you, and, it's very.
Yeah, so she's
on
a
that.
friend.
But we're every month now, we're going to give you something called bills to be paid, where y'all are going to look at all of them, that is all the bills that were paid in the prior month, so that's everything paid in March, you can look over it, any big, invoices or questionable invoices, capital, invoices, stuff like that, so put it there, if not, everything can get paid out, you can see what's been paid, and everything is bounced in the system. That includes ETS, any of the online payments and all that, so there's true transparency with everything that you need.
Or if you want to stop using all the keys. You can do that.
Then you're going to raise your costs because the check costs about $5.
Well, then that's why I do the bank because I don't.
And there's a lot of customers that are requesting ETS.
You can do online payments, you need to have your backup.
You have to like sign all that.
So in every agenda packet, and there's one, I would like to see a line item on there about bills to be paid, and then you'll look at it, and then the mayor would ask, do we accept the bills to be paid, do we accept, and if we have any questions, you can look at it, and then you can go and accommodate that. That would suffice him, and it would pass on it. Are you good with that?
Let's do that.
We talked about the chart of accounts already. About the payroll expenses. So, did we correct that?
That's the IRS issue.
No, the one that says we do not maintain
So I
employee
do,
personnel files.
I do, but I only have their initial pay rate with when you do any budget getting raised, like I'm going off the amount of the budget and I just put a sheet in the file with the current.
So to rectify that situation, I have started, and I haven't given it to her yet, I'm making what's called PAR form. So it's a personal, action form, PAR, PNR, personal action form. So anytime there's a pay rate, human resources issue, whatever, she takes that out, fills it out, signs it, the department head signs it, the city administrator signs it, and the mayor signs it. So, and that's kind of the way it's done in some other cities, or either mayor pro tem or whatever, but you have to put signatures on it to reflect that change. I can give that to you after the next meeting, see if I want to approve that kind of thing, but at least that would be there. If any pay raises were done, so that's the issue that we have in the audit, it would reflect that, and it would also have on there, sheet like meeting minutes, the day and the time, so they can go back and check that for the day.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
We do that.
And then talk about all time sheets needs to be signed by both the employee and supervisor.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, sure, it's just one time.
I didn't sign one.
That only hourly employees?
Some help.
Like who signed your?
She doesn't really have one. She doesn't really have one, she's salary.
That's what I'm asking, is there a difference between salary and hourly?
No, that would come out in your
If
financials.
you require a time sheet, you should have, if you don't require, like for her, you know, then whatever policy you have.
Sign it, form that says I'm an exempt employee.
But you would see that in your financials, so you, in the departmental, financials that you'll see, you would see his salary, you would see her salary paid, so you would get kind of improving it that way. But if you want something more official, I can change that.
Well, we do have friends.
Yeah, I can change that too, if not commissioners and everyone.
Like we could put in the packet and combination. Cash and bank reconciliations.
So the way that I learned to do all that was off the bank statements, and apparently that is incorrect.
So as of now, Valerie and I talked about, I have kind of, I'm gonna get to the point where I'll be doing all the entries and stuff for her. What she was doing is she was putting the bank information in after she got the bank statement, which was giving a 2 to 3 week up to a 4 week lag on some of the entries that needed to go in. So it's really important, if you really want to run a correct financial system, is to put it in at the time you write it. So you know exactly where your financial position is at the time that you write that check. You know, I don't, you know, in bigger cities, you're writing $1 million out here, $1 million out to funding, and you want to be able to tell your council and commissioners what's going on. So that was the problem that they had seen on this, is there was a little bit of a lag, but she was also doing 100 different things at one time, and it's simply didn't have time to do that. So now that I'm here, and I'm here for more hours than I was doing before, because I was only approved for 5 days a month, I'm having to help people.
And system backups.
So we have an external hard drive, so it's not just stored on the computer, but if the building were to burn down, we wouldn't use it because it's not on the cloud. Now, to put that system on the cloud is an extra $90 a month, which is why we don't have it.
I think we should do it, but
Yeah.
that's my,
If you lose your pay at night.
that would be a night.
That's a stupid. Yeah. What about like ransomware and stuff like that? Help us recover if we had an offsite backup.
I mean, we would still have to have some kind of projected data somewhere to recover that data.
That's what I'm saying.
If it was cloud hosted by the company, it would be cloud hosted by them, it would be here, so.
Would that pass the next year's audit if we just had cloud backup? That's
I
sufficient.
mean, anything you can do right now.
Well, I know. I mean, we can get an external hard drive to do, but then you have to name it. How about something
That
like
might be
that?
a cloud, $90 is worth of ours.
So questions I have. Anybody else have any? Thank you. No. Okay, we need to approve the budget, the audit. Alright, I'll entertain a motion to accept the fiscal year 2025 audit.
Make a motion to accept the.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Those say no, ayes have it. Motion carries. Agenda item 6, discuss, consider, take possible action to build a shed for public works equipment.
So it's a little diagram in your packet. I was able to purchase basically a 25 by 25 lean-to barn floor. So, and my proposal is that we build it in the back next to the impound lot, and then we can secure it, we have some tin to box it in, or with chain fence or whatever, so we can put our public works equipment while in there, so we have the day open. Especially since the chief is trying to do events, and that way we don't have to worry about the bay. And this stuff will be secure. And so the material I got for $1,400, so it was a really good deal to build a 25 by 25 shed. The only thing that I really need is maybe we're gonna need some additional pipe to make it a little bit taller so the tractor will fit. And then, I need to talk to the commissioner about millings, so.
Now, will that allow us to clear all the bays?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, or
Pretty much. All the barrels, the tractor, all the big stuff. It would pretty much empty out the bay and then it would just be able to be used.
Not a question, we don't need bigger. We don't need bigger.
So that's what I got, so, our things are pretty big. Everything can be put in that 25 by 25. Yeah, whatever we can press.
And you said 30-10, like corrugated tin.
It's corrugated tin, I don't know if we have enough corrugated tin to go all the way around it, I won't know. But I believe Commissioner Guzman said he could donate some.
Because I was just, well, we can make it 250 by 250. Okay. So what's the request, just to approve the shed or?
Well, if you're okay with the location, if you're okay with us doing it, if you're okay with it.
So this is behind the blue building.
It's behind the building, the impound lot, it would just be, I think it's 10 feet from the impound lot, so it wouldn't take up any like additional space towards the park per se, it would still be in that general area.
Between the concrete.
Yeah, it would still come up to like the road that's already there for the impound lot. Well, and then,
We're trying to get them from the county.
yeah, so the equipment doesn't get stuck, but we're trying to get the milling, for free, so that would be a great help. And then we might need a couple more, I don't know what they're called, the pipes that hold it up. Beams, that's what they're called.
Right. And it'll last through a hurricane.
It's gonna be welded together, and then I would also, need to hire like somebody for a day, 2 days to come help the guys do it and weld it. So, it's cheaper than building a new shed.
So we can.
Yeah,
Thanks
you know,
for-
it's inconvenient having to redo everything all the time.
I'll tell you on that motion, that we approve Valley's project. And buy all that stuff.
Alright, we have a motion, we have a second.
And then getting a budget
What do you think? Would be up to
up to,
5,000?
yeah,
Motion to approve the project and authorize spending up to 5,000. We have a motion, we have a second. Alright, all in favor, say aye. Alright, motion carries. 7, discuss, consider, take possible action regarding manufactured homes installed within the city limits without permits, and that being the city has adopted code requirements and other matters related to.
Well, the reason I brought this up is because it's not an ordinance, but we have talked about being covered like, there's a single one there, but it's not, property set with the code. If you're gonna do, again, when you're gonna pull it out, do it. Nobody checked on the code, nobody.
That's not on there now.
yeah, I spoke to you about it yesterday. Yeah, so I think the consensus is we need to be doing code enforcement to the point that it makes them comply. Cause I believe it's $500 a day fine. So,
Can we do it, I mean, is there an adjustment?
So, I mean,
They didn't get a home installation permit.
no, they didn't come to the city at all.
it's hard to get somebody to remove it, like, by yourself as a city. That's why your primary method is to cite them $500 a day, every day, to comply. And if you get to a certain point that they have, $20,000 in fines, then it makes it worth it for the city to abate it based on the citations. So it's a combined effort. The goal is compliance. And so you're citing them in hopes that they will come and make things right.
Now, the home itself is compliant,
And I
just
just
the way
tell
it's
you,
installed.
like, I'm getting phone calls like constantly about that house not having concrete floors because other people that have bought in homes have had to put concrete cutters. Still, everybody sees it, everybody knows it. So,
I would think so, I think anybody can install something without a permit.
right,
I think our goal should be compliance.
With the
The
stuff.
guy comes in and says, hey, I'll do compliance, and up to the court, let me get some 2005, they need some compliance. Or get rid of it.
right, so that would be a different.
But my understanding is the home itself is complianceable.
I don't know if it was built in compliance with their setback regulations or not. I don't know.
Home itself, I mean, it's above the minimum square footage, right? It is a less than 10 years
Well,
old.
even with their setbacks, like, the home itself is brand new, it's a brand new single family. I don't know if it was like put in the right place on the piece of land. Per se.
Well, they're gonna have to move it to, I don't know.
I don't know, I talked to Peter about the highway remedy list. He's like, let's hold the engineering project.
I mean, do you have to make it a septic permit?
There was a project from their county, but we don't issue. But normally they come to the office, we give them the checklist, and okay, we call that issue, these people didn't come to the office.
I know when we first started this 15 years ago, we asked for an ILA, interlocal agreement for septic permitting.
They don't ever.
Never do. Well, no, what I'm saying is they should be notified, hey, we approved this septic permit, get an email,
No,
so things like this don't happen.
bare metro, what's it in these?
Did it have supposed to be from water? Like, when is it? Maybe we need to talk about SCOSO so we can turn off the SNC, say, hey, we'll try to water. There's another way to get people coming.
Usually it's a local thing like that, they'll reach out, maybe the last property flag. And that's how you make sure that it's proper address and we have a chance to know it's not properly flagged and that's when it starts.
This was probably fine.
Do we want me to do a
Do all the above, not to decide another day, stop any further work.
I mean, my question is, I
I
think we
don't
should,
know if it's possible, like, are they gonna have to take the whole thing out?
So then, you're looking at,
It's already, it's already connected.
you could move it, I mean, no, what I'm saying is, I don't think this should, if I talk about this, this shouldn't necessarily be a city council discussion issue. It should be, somebody sees that there's an unpermitted manufactured home,
Oh, yeah,
and the staff just goes and takes care of it. You should stop work order, you call that SCOSA, they put on the water, and you say, hey, you guys need to come in with the proper permits. And we can be reasonable and flexible, oh gosh, I need a month to get it, get an agreement in order, we'll work with people, but if they're not even gonna come in and do anything, you're gonna have to.
well, they can after the, meeting over there, they can after that, so I'm not gonna issue a permit after we install it.
Yeah, I would say they need to sit down with you or Brandon and come up with how do we get to compliant plan that the city agrees to, and if they don't follow that timeline, then we can shut off utilities.
and having citations in the meantime, like at least issue them a couple.
Yeah.
So that there's a bite to it, a punishment.
And I would reach out, and I don't think we can reach out to ask us, whoever, to see if we can either be notified when they install stuff in the city, and or agreement that if we need to, we can ask them before the meeting. Well, that should be part of that agreement, when they do a major, if it's not a repair, if it's a new installation, it should be done. I know they're small, I guess, but I think if we ask them to do it, we would have to fix it.
Was the company that brought the home, was it a new company, or they bought it from somebody, or?
Not from Barney.
or not?
Oh,
Because
the dealers are outside of Barney.
None of our local dealers sold that one. So whoever
Okay,
sold it,
but maybe San Antonio.
sorry,
It was San Antonio.
I think it was a radio or put this out.
You would think they would know better.
They should. They should. I'm representing, everybody knows that every city has different the city, you'd say, we need to install all 30-year rules.
It is regular.
Okay,
Sure, that's,
well, if you don't enforce it,
so we have,
I think it's, from my understanding, it can be brought into compliance. And like anybody else, you can always ask for a variance. But you gotta work with us. That people, like it was a month ago, or someone who was over 10 years, it was in this house, improvement. Anything else? No? Agenda item number 8. Discuss, consider, take possible action to update the UDC regarding manufacturing restrictions.
let's see, we can update, ordinance. To say no single one, double one, that possibly do that. Because that's what we talked about it before, on the double one.
He wants to know if they could require mobile homes to be double wide and not single wide.
I think you can, I looked into it before, a year ago, when y'all were asking these questions. Y'all can, y'all control the zoning, so y'all can make that decision, and you just have to go through the zoning process if you want to change your ordinance.
It does depend on, there are some limitations, again, I think Jacob's right, off the shoot from the hip, but I think, there are, that's only for new ones. There are some state law requirements that say, you know, that you can't prohibit somebody from putting a mobile home in if they're replacing another one. And so I need to look at that and see, I don't know if somebody has a single one.
I'd be reluctant to do, because we already require concrete footers, which is pretty expensive. We already require masonry skirting. Skirting. I know those lots have a deed restriction, it's supposed to be masonry, and we require driveways and, we can look at it, I think we already have an elevated requirement. We also don't want to have people's land, we want to make it affordable. So if it's new and compliant. But they can report back next time with the possibility of that. Okay. Ready to have that. Agenda item 9, discuss, consider, take possible action to purchase a 250 Merchant of America van.
I brought this up to the city, it's going to be. We got a survey, we got a survey.
You get a banner that will cross moving, you can get a banner on the platform, or you can get a banner on the road. Whatever you want.
All right. Well, I mean, it's only the 250 for 1 year. We can leave it up for a year. Like from July 4th to July 4th.
What kind of banner do you want?
Or do you need a permit right now? Yeah, that's more of a monument. You got to think something about a banner. But we can do both. We're just the same. Yeah.
Where would you put it?
Banner? You can probably see it all. Building.
Whatever you want to do. What he asked me was about the banners that were underneath the US flag.
Oh, okay. Like America 250 flag. Well, if we go back next meeting and put that in, awesome.
They're not expensive, they're like $40 to $68.
Nice excessive, bigger flag, that flag is don't wear, it's really big. And then they have the ones that have a commemorative, just like flag, it's commemorative.
You got a side of our flag? Kind of point it inside.
Yeah, it's not one by six. Not even 2 by 3, because with mine, I have 2 by 5.
Yeah, I can do that.
Your
See,
profile.
I need to replace these anyway, they're put there,
Yeah, this one here.
Dixie Bike's not expensive.
Dixie bike.
Hey, you get a city card. Okay, we'll come back at the meeting with quotes and sizes of the booths. We can see if they have a American 250 flag. Probably might have got one.
Not Amazon.
Okay, let's discuss, consider update on the 4th of July.
So some of the committees here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, let's figure it out.
Have we had a meeting?
Well, we got James.
Well, we're supposed to have it every week, are we having it starting with the thing? That's our next meeting, that's, yeah.
We were looking for a time change.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
No,
That's the update, so those are the things that the committee has proposed so far.
Let's go to events starting July 3rd.
I looked at fireworks, being on the 3rd is significantly cheaper than it was on the 4th. On the 4th, it's like a minimum of $25,000 for attended fireworks show. For the 3rd, visiting fireworks, quoted me $7,000, $7,500 for a fireworks, attending a fireworks show. The quote from Mr. W is just for fireworks, it doesn't include people actually doing the performance. And I looked at a drone show just to see, and it costs basically what the fireworks do, so.
Well, if we do it, we have to have the pyrotechnic license.
If we do it, you have to buy special insurance also, separate, requiring additional. The next policy
When you say fireworks plus display, what does that mean?
that they're gonna do, they're the ones who decide all that.
How about like a drone show?
It's always 4,200, the payment show. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, but they're not keeping the fire. How much was it about? For the 3rd, we were $7,500 for Liberty fireworks. For how long? 10 minutes.
These are just the ones they sell there, right? It's just like a club.
Yeah, those are just fireworks. It's approximately what it would take to shoot off in 10 minutes. There's some other things on it that the committee had suggested. I requested Fair County send their mariachi. We're trying to get an honor guard from ROTC. We tried to get the Air Force band, but they're not going to be here. They'll be in Florida. Ms. Malin brought up a freedom wall, like a basically a graffiti wall. People could write on it, right? Talked about doing you know how the schools will do the fiesta parades with the kids when they make their floats or their exhibits? Doing that, there's information in there for our house decorating contest, home or business decorating contest.
Kind of like a time capsule.
Time capsule would be cool. I put information about the old history project in there to start signing people up. We want to do a veterans roll call for Army veterans. And then Miss Mary Castro, given she's the local historian, asked her to put together an exhibit of memorabilia from War Army military families. I gave them a list of that.
Well, can we ask the committee to put together the banners and stuff? Yes, sir.
I got a curiosity question, why the 3rd, not the 4th? Why do the celebration on the 3rd and not the 4th?
What was the consensus from the committee? Also easier because there's so many events on the 4th.
And it was gonna be kind of hard for the,
To have
for them to
vendors,
have, for
downtown.
And I understand that, but most people work that won't be attending most of the events because it's a Friday. So
What we're
the
doing
community that
is-
it's for won't be here.
That's why I think that's why
Just
we're
saying.
having it till 10 p.m. Yeah, maybe they'll come after 5, I don't know. But it was just the safety issue. It's gonna be hard to get any of that.
And then if you, would do the opening remarks and whatnot.
Yeah, sure. Now, this is just a working plan, right? We can always bring
Yeah,
that
this is a
back to
working
the
plan.
committee and ask them to take on that.
Because ultimately,
Yeah, we can, it's kind of got through it, but we're getting close, and we have to do it. Like, next month or the following, have at least a basic plan. Right there. Alright, so I'll ask them about the,
yeah, we did a contract one.
open in 50 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the report? Hearing none, we'll move to agenda item 11, discuss, consider, take possible action to plant grass in the city park and other city property.
So I priced it, it's very expensive. Like $10,000.
Up there, the water, keeping on.
Look, it's already getting green, we're gonna get some more rain, good not for life.
Can we spray like rain guards, that's the water coming off the buildings that we could use for the park maybe?
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna irrigate part of it, realistically.
No.
Well, I'm saying, if we invest so much in grass, but you don't irrigate,
Oh, yes, pointless, but
unless there's some, is there some kind of native
there's buffalo grass
grass that
that's like super drought resistant, but it's not cheap.
you can't seed it?
This is for the seeds.
This is for the
This
seeds.
is for the seeds.
That's what's expensive to see.
Johnson grass?
It's like roughly, how many acres?
Is the parking.
I mean, how can we cut it down like a coastal ride mix? Like,
You know more about grass than I do, I'm not,
I don't think I don't know why we can't, but, you know, that's really drought resistant and, you know, you have grass 24/7, you know, winter and, we just, that's.
I can get a quote.
Yeah, but I'll give it to you, let me tell you what it's for.
Well, I use the rock problem with, sprayers.
Yeah, coastal spray, dry grass.
You throw it there, they won't dominate, and they'll come out.
I'm all for it.
You don't like the corn bushes?
The rocks are coming out right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We need to look at the kind of rain.
I know, but it's vulnerable. Some years is dry, so we don't wanna, we gotta make sure we put something that's resistant, or if it's a drought, it'll die and come back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can look for more,
See what we
we
can.
just need to drought. Yeah. All right, agenda item 12, discuss, consider, take possible action to approve community affirmation form for the Monterey Drainage Project.
I don't know what it's called, that's just what it's called. So we were selected, and I suppose this was applied for when Sally was still mayor. It's part of a drainage project for the state. The Texas Water Development Board picked Von Army as a high priority for drainage study. So what they told me was the Live Oak Slough, and then Quintana Road, and not right, no, I added right to it, so right is the third one. So those are the three. So this is $250,000 in funding potentially, could fund up to 5 drainage studies to identify like what in Von Army needs to be improved. I know that there's previously been a study on the Live Oak Slough. IDA is supposed to be getting that information, but this company, HDR, has been Texas Water Development Board has assigned them to fill out applications for us to apply for the funding. It doesn't cost us anything, but we have to submit this form if we want to do it.
And if we get it, we get to select who. Or do they get
What's the would be Texas Water Development Board that did it.
I don't know, the funding of it, as far as who performs owns the study, or is it Texas Water Development?
I think they're the ones that kind of.
Alright. So we just have to basically approve.
Yeah, it makes it to where I can represent the city and then they can contact Ida and talk to Ida about different issues with the city.
Alright. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion. For these funds.
A motion to approve the community affirmation form. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Alright, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Motion carries. 13, updated discussion on the count alarm statute.
So I don't know if you saw the email from Christian, but they're not able to get the statute because of the turmoil overseas at this time.
We need to find a new vendor.
I just sent it out to some local quotes. Lynette mentioned somebody in Uvalde that they had used in Lido. Yeah.
We don't get a response back? No. We bring it back. If they're able to get it some quotes. If they're comparable, that'd be great. I'd rather have you valid statute than change. Alright. Agenda item 14, discuss, consider, take possible action regarding graffiti ban under control and bandit sign abatement. I think you kind of give me an update, but I was, asking about the graffiti, the 35 drainage, and I guess there's some new ones on those concrete barriers.
Yeah, they did it again.
You get those removed.
Yeah,
ASAP. Yeah, there's also, we need to set up, if I need to, I'll get in the car with it. If you just drive up and down, you'll see tons of graffiti on. There's one on the no through truck sign on.
Oh, on the signs,
Aurora.
yeah, the spray painting sign.
Yeah, and there's one on, I think it's an AT&T box.
That's great.
Yeah.
The reference to Rudy's Lane, yeah. And same with, I keep seeing the same bandit signs, and they're supposed to be going every week.
They are.
And I see the same signs.
What sign is it?
Nuts. Oh, they're all the, mobile home. If they go on Friday, it'd be great, so that Saturday I drive around and see you guys, or if they do it fresh. Just re-urge them to do that weekly.
They're doing it in the morning, so they're just missing.
Yeah, but even the ones that are on the poles, they put them on the electric poles.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nobody that sends them. As a political side, they should be done, yeah. I also have, I know the veteran, trim the, is that all they're gonna do, or is that?
Well, they push the trees to like a face of fence, because they had to cut the fence to keep the trees down, so they need to cut the fence because they don't want people going into the dump. Is there a concern? They had to cut the fence to take the trees down, so right now the trees are really big for it. So we can't drive it.
Yeah, well, not yet, it's part of the, they're all dead. They're gonna replace the tree, they're gonna remove trees, they're gonna replace it.
How about another graffiti light? Your sign over there.
Oh, yeah.
What do I do with that?
I've been calling them, they don't respond.
People come in on our, and say, see your sign.
I called, the problem is, the problem, it was landmark shelf. And so they're not in the billboard business, they got like 2, and they've got like 100 gas stations. And every time I call, they're like, oh, so-and-so does the billboards, and I can't get them on the phone. So, I will keep calling. I agree with this, but there is.
One question, what was the property behind the post office?
Here. I took over. Remember him? Okay, now they.
The post office just, probably, yeah. You noticed it? You go look through the.
Same thing with the block on the first tickets. I mean, what about the graffiti on the little fence?
So, I believe they did send out a certified letter for that. So we go through the next step after that. Cause he's not responding. He's not going to respond. I believe they sent something to all of them. So all those certified letters after that, so we'll do it the next step.
Yeah, that was supposed to be doing weekly. Public Works is supposed to be doing.
They do, as soon as they pick it up, it's going again.
Where are you specifically?
I'm looking at the road in the city, I'm looking at underneath the turnaround. Is that,
We don't clean up the shells properly. They've tried to get us to clean up their property. We don't clean up us properly.
Right. But no, but it's
But all those others,
we asked them to do that one next, check it out. So we can get that fixed up. If you see this, follow up over that. You know, to do more. It gets on schedule. Yeah, sometimes.
we also need to be writing tickets. Because it's constant.
Now, if litter goes from private, flows onto the public right of way,
You can say if we traces that.
well, for example, the shelter, we had 18 litter parks, and there's stuff overflows, and it flows into the public right of way.
Yeah, if
So they've got tires and everything else to do.
you can definitely say to Shell.
There's a big truck. Oh, they're cheap. It's been there. for 3 weeks.
Well, last time we actually, picked up two, tractors, reliable that we actually sold them that. They were private property at the exit, and then one of the sergeants asked me, told him, I said, well, you need permission from the management of the store, and they could allow us to put them up. So right now, we're getting.
It's just,
They can private property building, we just have to take them. They don't need us to do that.
If it is the same place for 30 days on private property, it's considered.
it might be there 30 days, and then turn there all the time.
The park. Yeah, but the thing about that is we don't want to do that because then we get stuck with the car nobody wants and then we end up paying for the income because nobody wants it. We don't, we really don't do that. They can take it to the private property, so they can have.
So there's a bank card.
It's all busted.
It belongs to the manager. It does? They go to Washington, fix it. I'll call this up. It's a manager, they should be able to get. Discuss, consider take possible action regarding implementation of 2024 audit recommendations. From this or that. Was there anything else left over from last year that we could? No, I meant the 24. Just to make sure.
So last year.
Last year.
So we just did
Today. But won't be presented like in the fall.
the fall. I just want to make sure you remember. We kind of moved past that and we're working on new issues. So most of it is the computer stuff that we're leaving off this year. So I'm feeling much better with it in the last 3 weeks than I was a month ago. So we can accept, though we have that, we need to motion on it, we accepted everything in 2024 and we moved on to 2025 recommendations.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I don't know, I was just following up. We had things like the Omni and it was maybe the court stuff that was still undone the last time. That wasn't finished. So,
At that, I think at that point, we were doing transfer from input
Agenda item 16, discuss consider take possible action regarding the waste management contract.
Do y'all have them come to a board meeting, or do y'all want to be doing less formal?
Well, the contract may have to come to council to approve. That's fine, I don't mind even having a special, I mean, one, we want to find what's going on, two, we can see if we can renegotiate it and get people refunded back. I don't think it would be more effective.
I mean, if we have all y'all here at the same time, then the amendments can be implemented immediately.
I'm saying, I don't necessarily want to wait 30 days. I think we can get them sooner, better, we can fix, because they're billing people extra.
What we discussed is the people in this village should not be getting fuel charge.
Right. About 2 years. No, we sent them the notice of default, right? Is that cancel the contract, in essence, or is it just the notice to cure kind of thing?
Notice, and then they reached out to me, and we asked for approved samples of wrongdoing. And so, I have yours, and if you don't have any others, we can send them along with it. I was just going to send it back to them, we was going to set a meeting and ask the next thing to be to set a meeting to discuss some of the issues.
So if anybody can go get your Tiger bill, mine started in January of 24. They added a fuel surcharge, it's been there ever since.
Okay.
The city of, so you can pull all of your, if you don't mind sharing that, you can go on their website, pull them all, and see if yours started also in January. And if you want to show them multiple examples.
I just, Alden and said about that third party, they wanted to pay this here, and they said that's what they have to do.
So let's try to set it up if we can before the next 30 days, and ask them to bring their records of surcharges for every account of line. And send us a spreadsheet.
Then the recycling too, if y'all can make a statement as to when you lost your recycling bin, or if you ever had one, because they were supposed to provide recycling bins as part of the contract, and they either never have, or they did, and they took it back.
It did more than once. I would also, I mean, I don't know, is it premature to just put together an RFP for
What?
show we're serious?
Yeah.
We have to approve that, right? So we have to approve that. See how things are going.
I mean, I think it's part of the
Well, yeah, I mean, they violate their.
Are y'all trying to get other bids?
I think the way it's written as part of the waste management contract, we can request to get an RFP issued to see if we would extend the contract. So if y'all might, like to get that together and start that process, we can do so.
I would.
We should.
Can you make that motion?
Yeah, make a motion that
And to also set a meeting with Tiger to discuss.
yes.
There's one other thing, when you're a new customer, you have to pay a deposit for well, I'm not talking about the trash cans, the dumpsters. And then, they charge you like $150 a month. What is that, yeah? You're giving the service, why can't you pay $150 for them to bring it out?
Yeah, I didn't look for that in the contract.
They did require deposits.
One thing, but what about bringing, charging to bring it out?
Delivery fee should.
Yeah.
If you can show me that on bill, that would be very helpful.
That's a good reason not to. It was about $300 by the time just to get them going.
That's not like we have.
I think I can take that. I think I can.
So we have a motion,
Yes, do a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Discussion and update on sewer projects. Did you ever hear back from Crest?
I got the letter from your trust today, so I'll be able to sign and leave us tomorrow.
Okay, good. We finally move on to the next phase, which is acquisition.
Saws has to finalize the alignment and approve the design and then it's acquisition. Staff will do it.
All right, anything else on that? Not, agenda item 18, discuss consider take possible action regarding the city's organizational structure. All right. This might be a long one. One of the things I wanted to look at was how we have set up the organizational structure of the city. Part of it has to do with kind of the auditing, the other is just making sure we've got enough checks and balances, and everything bottleneck necessarily in one. Because of our organizational structure, I think the auditor made a very good point. He said we basically have two departments: we have administration and we have police, right? And so I would like to see the city structure be more reflective of that. When the rest of the people are all the mayor and council, and we got the chief and the police department, and we've got the city administrator and administration, and we have duties to make sure that each department are cross-checking each other. You know, for example, having budgetary issues, that kind of stuff. And with hiring, firing, of course, police are always looking and making sure no one's getting fraud or stealing anything. The other office to be more reflective of what is actually happening on the ground. And also to take some of the burden off the administrators, because sometimes it's, you know, we have a chief and we have a.
I think we should be able to get, if it ain't broke, what's the problem? If it ain't broke, we better fix it. I think everybody should come up under the city administrator. That way one person is responsible.
Well, No, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I have seen problems. I've seen problems with, you know, conflict or, you know, within the staff over policies being set, you know, autonomy of the police versus the administration.
I don't have anything to do with law enforcement. Law enforcement completely belongs to the chief. How he does all that, that's completely his choice. I have nothing to do with the law enforcement actions, how they did, that's got nothing to do with me. I'm only city function, like purchasing, spending, making sure we're not going over the budget. That's it. Like, I have nothing to do with, like, the police stuff belongs to him completely. The hiring and firing, the only thing that I really want is to know that we're in compliance. I really just want assurance that, hey, we followed all the steps people said follow. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to read it. I just basically want the civilian form, like the civilian HR packet I'm supposed to have, with like a cheat code checklist that the chief signs off on that says I did all these steps. That's all I want. I don't want to interview his people. That's all it is.
And that's what I'm talking about, which is to clarify that.
That's all I want.
And that's what I'm saying, because there are administrative functions of the police department that need to be checked. And then there, you know, vice versa, but, I'll keep talking, I don't know, Chief, you have any input?
I do think like the report to council should be more detailed, so like, you know, how many miles are on each unit, you know, what's getting maintenance, you know. Like we've had one unit that's gone through 2 engines, like I think all that stuff should be reported to you guys. I do want to review the schedule just to make sure like we're not doubling holidays with paid officers. Unless we have to, sometimes you have to. Like overtime, there's emergencies, there's crashes, people get hurt, sometimes you just have to do it, but it shouldn't just be because we're not clocking in and out when the schedule says we should be clocking in and out.
Yeah, I wanna, for the commissioner to, we didn't just drop down into, we were elected. We were elected for this position. Now, compared to what we had before, when we took over a city that didn't have any money. But the building was never finished until we came on board. And I hired a person to do it for $20,000 cheaper than contract that you had got, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we got the compound over here, things have been done since we've been here. So I've got nothing to apologize for, and I'm not going to get to do exactly what I've been doing. And I know some people find out like it, but that's okay, that's the way the system works. And that's all I have to say.
I think it's been working fine the way it is, okay? If the system is not broke, don't fix it. If you're not been talking about it, don't put it in that part. Huh? Now, if it's broken, let's deal with it, right? But we've had 3 outstanding years. Before that, it was a mess.
Well, I would say, like, if you want me to bring the policies here before I issue them, I run them through legal, I have legal freedom, like, I was given authority when I was hired to issue policy as needed. Like, I wrote the job description, I wrote the policy manual, like, those are all things that I did when I first came in, because it was messy. But if you would prefer that I bring policies here before they're issued, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's a preference, I think that's what Commissioner Martinez is saying, that's our job, right? You guys make recommendations, we review them, and we're the ones that try to make sure that all the interests are being balanced. And then we can approve them or modify them as necessary. I mean, absolutely. Chief, for anything from you guys?
Well, the thing is that I know when previous chief was here, there were 2 different departments. They both, the chief would answer to the board commissioner, to the mayor. Now, when I actually got hired, I guess it was totally changed, you know. And I understand, you know, the city administrator told me that she was gonna oversee the police department, you know, which has been a little, you know, conflict, you know, for some of the things that's, you know, there's been several officers that have left because of some of the issues that she had brought.
If you want to talk about personnel, we can take it.
For example, dogs, nobody wants to keep the, you know, the dog out. You know, now, whenever we do an impound, you know, we do it, like, it takes sometimes an hour just to do a impound shoot. So it's been more difficult because she has more stuff into that, you know, that's my thing, that the previous chief was totally different, they're both answered to the board commissioners and that. So.
Now, what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to, obviously, cause war, I'm trying to resolve conflict, right? And by clarifying people's authorities, right? And I think we need to clarify, you know, what, you know, set policies and those types of issues need to be brought to the commissioners so we can resolve them, right? How are we doing it versus, you know, any kind of power struggle or any kind of issue before people start leaving and that type of stuff, right? That shouldn't happen, right? Now, if it's a good policy, we have to do it, but I think, you know, what I'm trying to show is that we've got, you know, we've got 2 main departments. The administration has a lot of entanglement with the police department because of exactly what Valerie said. We gotta make sure we're on budget, we gotta make sure we do certain things. We should all get checks and balances, right? And I think it would run better. We can always try it, right? And see how it runs more smoothly and make sure that if there is any kind of conflict or different opinions, we can brought right here where the 3 of us can decide which way to go. We can balance those interests. And people will feel that they're getting a fair shot, but at least they can kind of advocate with us for, you know, what's going on or what we need to do. So, and those are issues that we need to address, right? Because we have animal control, it's one of the top things that people, that our citizens want. And we gotta make sure that it's functioning properly, so we don't get in trouble, but also so that it can be taken care of.
That was also all through the board of commissioners. The animal control all came through the board of commissioners.
No, I understand, but when we make a decision that doesn't work, we need to be told and brought up so we can fix our mistake. I'm not saying everything we do is perfect, obviously, but I'm just saying, I think it would boost morale, I think it would function smoother. I don't really think it's, in my mind, it's much of a difference, other than people know what their authorities are, you know, it would simply clarify things and make things run smoother. Because I've heard some of these issues, right, and frustrations, and again, I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, I think it would be smoother if we ran that way, and we define, you know, what functions does the admin have over the PD, and what functions does the PD have with regard to the admin, and be very clear that everything comes up to us for approval, whether it's a major policy, we were talking about hiring and firing, we know it has to happen sometimes quickly, but then we get advised so we can resolve things, hopefully before they become more problematic.
Now, we had a problem with that dog, motivated for, they should be handling the dog.
Should be what?
They should not be handling the dog.
I agree, and in the past, we had,
Before, and we can't seem to do anything about it. We need to hire another person.
Why can't you have the maintenance manager, assistant maintenance?
that's what we said we did.
So as a Texas peace officer, I can enforce any code, including the health and safety code with my peace officer license. If we have a civilian do it, we have to go and have them certified as animal control. And there's a whole, apprentice process through the state, you have to go through for a year to get that license.
But can it be that we've got somebody who does the day-to-day feed, clean, and if there's an issue, then they call you or they call the PD and say, hey,
I think they have to be certified as animal control too, because that's an animal control shelter licensed by the state, that's not just a shed for dog.
They have to work under,
They have to work under a
they
license.
have to work under an AOC or somebody, I think that's the level of the chief. But they can't handle the dogs. They can clean and they can do, I need to check with my past AOCs, but they can clean and do whatever, they just cannot handle the dogs. They can't do intake. I know that.
Okay, I have to say something about your chart or whatever we're talking about, Tammy, okay? Because, I went to chief on one period of time and I wanted to do certain things with this building, like your American Legion does, y'all have your meeting, you do your stuff, right? I went several times to go to the police department and ask them for training and, what do you call that? First aid, you know, the thing of the heart, and there's so many things that, the chief police can do, but he's gotta come all the way over here to, Valerie and ask about that, you know, and there's gotta be a decision over here. A lot of things that I've asked Sammy and Raymond, a lot of things that I've asked that I thought would be good for the city, the exercising, you said you would approve it. Well, we can never get there because I go here, then I go here, and then it stops here most of the time. And I'm just saying, why can't I go one place, have it done? A lot of our community is upset about that. I'm just saying what I've heard and why this, structure is not done with them leading this and her leading this. And then you have that accountability for both of them to check each other. That's all I'm saying, okay?
I know some of the weeks here, but if that's the case on the animal control, I don't know if it's a significant issue. Maybe that's something we should consider is moving the animal control to the admin side. And hiring someone to do the dirty work, the stuff that nobody wants to do, right? I mean, you guys don't have a problem, you know, if there's a call, like catching the animals and bringing them in. It's the day-to-day cleaning, feeding, all that kind of issue that becomes time consuming. Well, I'm saying, I think one function is we've got stray animals and we've got dangerous animals, someone needs to go and pick them up and bring them to the shelter. It's a different thing to say we gotta feed
officers, that way they don't have anything to do with it.
That's what I'm suggesting, we kind of separate these two functions.
That or, you know, long time thing, get a certified. Talk about a year to do it, well, a year to going on, still not a problem.
We discussed it, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, no, we're at that meeting.
I make the motion to do that.
It's about,
Well,
So,
I like that input from folks.
if you want to talk
about
about
us.
personnel individually, we can go in.
Executive session. Executive session.
That balance, that balance,
So, what specific, like, person or position or place in the organizational structure are you wanting to talk about?
We did all 5 of us. And then we discuss it, and if it works, if nothing, we put it up.
well, if we do this, then maybe authorize, myself, the city administrator, the chief committee, put together a proposed chart. We can come back and talk about the balances, all those concerns.
I got to return everybody agree.
And I think it'd be helpful when we can clarify. And of course, not everybody's gonna get 100% of what they want. That's kind of compromise. And say, but the goal would be to do things certain, and then we can talk about these different issues. If they don't go show up and answer the big issue, if there's something that we really need to be concerned about, we can address that. Try to address all that.
But you have somebody, get the maintenance in. Half the time, the maintenance man is there in the office.
Well, there's, we have 2 minutes.
Yeah, why can't they do it?
Mr. Mayor,
I-
they have 3 minutes to speak.
We're talking about the discussion, we're talking about.
I'm gonna be in the, say, you give me one comment, I'm talking about some people, they already spoke. I have one more gentleman has hand up and then we'll tell.
2 months ago, y'all were gonna have a special meeting to discuss this.
Yeah.
Which my understanding hasn't happened.
Okay, canceled.
So, his request was for the special meeting that was approved 2 months ago.
We don't have it. I'm responding to his comment. We have something to discuss. To me, it did not, I want to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
You have another one.
I'm not entertaining that much. We only have one more issue, we only have one more item, so, if we can bring back a proposed structure. Okay. Alright. Agenda item 19, discuss and entertain possible action regarding the city hall, use of the city hall for food bank distribution. We finally got the food bank to approve a food distribution in Ball Army. I believe the proposed date is, it's every month, right?
Yes.
The 20th of each month or the third Thursday or something like that.
They're-
Right. And we want to use the blue building for the food distribution.
Actually, no, what we want to do is use these, parking lot right here. So, the police chief, said that it would probably be best to have it come in this way and go out that way. You know, just the front, that's all it is.
They bring some good sized trucks.
Excuse me?
They bring some pretty good sized trucks with it.
No, for our city, since we are a small city, what we asked for to begin with was, not a big 18-wheeler. We just want a regular truck and have, yes, and it should feed about 110 people. That's about it. So we're trying to get it from 9 to, 10:30, 10:15 will be our cutoff time, and we have 15 minutes to clean up. We have volunteers because that's what they want. That's what they need. Yes, sir.
When is the time? The job's that will go into the meeting.
Excuse me?
Is there any charge?
No, absolutely not. No. No. No, absolutely not.
Is that gonna require any personnel or police?
Actually, we would like the police, I've asked Loretta and the man from, food bank that came in and.
You have to have law enforcement, we've done before, there has to be one.
Yeah, and he says that if, they volunteer, but for our Sandy, it's a win-win situation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll learn from it if we need to get.
Thank you.
Well, this one is the 28th
So
of April.
20th of April, and we have set it up for the third Monday of each month.
Third Monday.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the agenda, by the way, so we
Okay.
should approve
Okay,
law food bank distribution on the third Monday of each month.
thank you very much.
You have a motion?
Well, I'll make that motion.
Third Monday. Right, okay, yeah. We also got. Yes.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion to approve, is there a second?
I'm gonna hesitate, but I'm gonna say this.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. We are at adjournment. Okay, motion to adjourn. Favor. Very good. Well, it's on here, we ran out of items.
14 more months. Yes.
All right, we are adjourned at 8:35.
Thank you.